Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton. It's time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And one of those reality shows is The Real Housewives of New York. I'm back to The Real Housewives of New York. But before we get into that, today I was day number 2 of pole dancing class for me. And today's class was pole level 1 and pole strength. First of all, the teacher was fierce. I mean, the cool thing about going back to pole dancing class after 5 years is that there's a whole new crop of teachers that I don't know. But I'm excited to get to know all of them, so I'm very happy. But the sucky thing is that, I'm not, I'm 5 years older. My body's 5 years older. I got my plantar fasciitis in my right heel that's killing me. I'm a little bit overweight, so there are certain and I don't have as much arm strength as I used to, which I'm going to be losing the weight. I'm going to be getting better arm strength. I'm putting in the work to get all that done. So I'm not super worried about that, but it's just frustrating. It's like when you're in a coma and you want to talk to your family. You're alive, you're there, you know what's going on, and you're trying to say something but you can't say anything. Like, I think that would be like the worst feeling in the world. I swear to God, that would be awful. If you're trying to say something and you just can't say anything. But that's kind of how I feel now, because I used to it's crazy because I was looking back on my pole dancing days, and shit, I wasn't like amazing, like Remy Martin amazing, or who else is Evgeny Greshalov, right? But at the same time, I was pretty fierce. Like, I did quite a few tricks. I was pretty fierce. So I'm a little disappointed in myself. But the teacher today, she was very good, and she was like, I can tell that you are gonna get it. You're gonna pick it up just like that. So I'm excited. So that made me happy. I was kind of excited about that. Anyways, I just felt like talking about that. Okay. So let's talk about the Housewives of New York. Okay, so here's the thing about the Real Housewives of New York. And okay, so Andy and Bethany and all these people were talking about, oh my God, this trip to Mexico is so wonderful. It's crazy. It's the best. It's outrageous. I didn't think it was all that. I'm sorry, I really didn't. And maybe they just overhyped it. And if they hadn't said anything, I'd be like, oh my God, that trip to Mexico was crazy. I really didn't. You want a crazy trip? And maybe it's just because I've been watching the show for so long, right? Because honestly, if out of all the trips that the Housewives of New York have taken, I definitely think that the Scary Island trip still holds the top in terms of crazy ass trips that they've taken. Scary Island, 100%. And there are even trips that other cities have taken that were better than this Mexico trip. Like when the Beverly Hills Housewives went to Amsterdam, that was the whole, don't you dare say anything about my husband, or that whole thing between Lisa Rinna and Kim. Oh, that was great. That was fabulous. That whole trip was great. So and let's see what else. In terms of the Housewives of oh God, Atlanta. No, they didn't have that. Their trips weren't that fabulous. Those are the two that stick out of my head, though. Beverly Hills and New York Scary Island. Those were much better. This Housewives trip wasn't that fabulous. I'm sorry, it wasn't that great. Like, okay, so here's one of the reasons why it wasn't that great, because there was no clear-cut villain and no clear-cut victor, right? So, like, Bethany starts off the trip, she starts off mad at Sonia, and then she's not mad at Sonia, and then she starts off mad at Ramona, she's not mad at Ramona, and then there's Luann, and, Tinsley's pissed off at Ramona, and Tinsley's pissed off at Sonia. Carol didn't really have any beef with anyone. Dorinda didn't have any beef with anyone until, the last night when she had a big old fight with Bethany. And here's the thing. This is why the whole thing was just ridiculous to me. Because they were all just drunk. Like, I have seen that so many times in my life. I really don't, I just don't care. Like, when you know And I've been there. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying, when someone who's had a lot to drink and maybe too much to drink, and then they start spilling their feelings, you know, or or they get aggressive. Lord knows I know plenty of belligerent drunks, let me tell you. It's just not a good look on anybody, right? So, I mean, the fact that, or they get a little amorous when they get tipsy, Sonia, Morgan. But, the whole thing was just, it was a big who cares to me. It was like, okay, so, yeah, they're drunk, and now they're yelling at each other. Oh, now they're making out. Oh, now they're crying. I mean, like, it was just a whole bunch of ridiculousness. The only one that really didn't manage to get caught up in the ridiculousness was Carol. But I do have to give props to Luann at the beginning of the trip, because she drank, so she was the first one to get, like, shit-faced drunk, right? And whatever. Listen, they're all on vacation, so who cares how drunk they get, right? Nothing bad, nothing, like, seriously bad. It's not like they all went out and then, got murdered by some axe murderer in town. None of that happened, so whatever. If they want to cut loose, they can cut loose. And Luann was the first one to get shitty drunk. And not just that, she fell off the stairs. She fell into the bushes. She was falling all over the place that first night. Not a scratch on her. Girl, you better get it. You get snaps from me for that, because that's pretty fierce. That was pretty fierce. Actually, you know what? There was a little bit of conflict between Luann and Tinsley at the end, too. I mean, the whole thing, everyone was just... It was annoying. I'm sorry. I didn't think it was that entertaining. I know. I'm a horrible person. Shoot me. I love the show. I love the season. I love Tinsley. I love almost all of the housewives. I love Dorinda. But it's like, I didn't think that trip was all that. I'm sorry. I feel bad for thinking that, because everyone was talking, oh my God, this trip is so amazing. I didn't think it was all that. Scary Island was, as a viewer, Scary Island was a much better trip. Because here's why. A lot of the behavior of the girls, both good and bad and amorous and whatever, can just be contributed to alcohol. Because they were all just drunk. Right? And you can say, oh, well, when you're drunk, your true feelings come out, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Because if you're drunk too, you're not going to remember what their true feelings are. So who gives a shit, right? But in Scary Island, they weren't drunk. They were sober, and Kelly's crazy. So that was a big, like everyone on the boat was like, oh my God, Kelly's lost her fucking mind. Like that was a good trip. From a viewing standpoint, I'm sorry, that was a good trip. Now, from being in it, it was probably much better for the girls now. Oh, and you know what else it reminded me of too? So they were at dinner table, right? And Tinsley was talking about something, fuck this, and and you are the weirdest fucking person, and all this shit she was saying. F word was every other word. And she was like, I'm sorry, I say F word a lot. You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of a certain dinner I want to say the Caribbean, another trip, where Dorinda was it Dorinda? Or was it Aviva? I think it might have even been Aviva. God, I don't remember. But someone got into it with Heather. I miss Heather, by the way. I'm sorry, but I miss Heather. I love Heather. I think she's fabulous. So, they said, it might have been Dorinda. Because Dorinda and Heather got into a whole thing where she told Heather she says the F word too much. And she was like, I'm on fucking vacation. And she's like, you say the F word all the time, and you've got a daughter, and who cares, So, the whole thing was just a retread to me. It just seemed like we've been here before. We've seen this before. So, I didn't think it was all that. I'm sorry. I've got to apologize to all my Housewives fans out there. I didn't think it was all that. Anyways, I do want to say thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. I love that you like to listen to me ramble. And plus, I just like having someone to talk to about these shows, because not everyone likes all the shows. You know, some people like some of the shows. Like, for example, like at work, you know, Cameo doesn't like General Hospital or Days of Our Lives, or any of the housewife shows. She doesn't like a reality show, but you know, we do talk Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful. So, and you know, some people I'm able to talk housewives, but they don't care for soap. So it's just, this is the nice way for me. It's very cathartic, as opposed to for Housewives of Auckland, lethargic. Oh, Angela. It's very cathartic for me to just get it all out, so I enjoy that. Anyways, I just want to say thank you for logging on, and I appreciate you. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can hashtag RHONY or Real Housewife Shit to talk to Real Housewives of New York. Or you can also hashtag Below Deck Med, because I'm doing that show next tomorrow. Okay, everyone, have a great night. Peace out. Oh, and you can also hit that subscribe. I always forget this because, like, literally, like the first like 150 episodes, I'm getting close to episode 300. But like the first 150 episodes, I didn't tell you to click on that subscribe button. But now I'm telling people, click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel and you'll get my videos sent to your inbox every single day. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for logging on today. Have a great night. Peace out. Sleep tight. Wubba, wubba, wubba.